Welcome to Worthy Ones, the video series where I take all the issue ones that I read for the current comic book week, and of course, guys, I deem them worthy or not worthy. I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love this kind of stuff, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I always bring you daily comic book content. So before we dive into it, I just gotta let you know about a little sidekick for your comic book collection. What happens when you start a new box with too much empty space? Your books slide, they slouch, they flop, they bend, they crease, and now your books are ruined. But what's the solution? Well, pick up a Sidekick today. Be the hero of your comic collection. The Sidekick fits firmly in your short box to keep those comics upright and prevent them from falling. So guys, check out Sidekick today. There is a link in my description box below. This product is made in the USA. It offers free shipping, and if you use my promo code Slayer15, you'll also get 15% off. And also, if that is not good enough, guys, when you make a purchase for Sidekick, there is a portion of the proceeds go to Comic Book for Kids. So they are a proud partner of that charity. So guys, what are you waiting for? Check out Sidekick to protect your comic book collection. Trinity Special, this is issue 1. This is a 44-page comic. Wait a second, it's more like a 6-page comic for $6. When I originally heard about this Trinity issue 1 special, I thought it was going to be a story that had to deal with Trinity herself, the entire issue. But no, this is featuring DC's brightest new star, Trinity, in the earliest adventures taking place in the Wonder Woman comics that just came out. So if you want to see all these different stories that came out in the first few issues of Wonder Woman all in one place, yeah, this is where you're going to see it. Come on, really? They claim that this is an instant classic. No, far from it, guys. Come on, this stuff just came out within a few months, and we're already reprinting it? Like, is this really necessary? And to charge $6 for this is absolutely insane, right? For me, this book is not worthy. I was just definitely disappointed by that, and I didn't find this out until literally a day or two before that. This was mainly reprints of the back of the Wonder Woman series. You do get one story in here that's kind of leading up to what's going to go on with Trinity in the future, but it is only 6 pages, and honestly, guys, it's not really worth your time and your effort to spend this money on such a short story. So at the end of the day, DC got me, so I'm just going to give this one an F. Powergirl Uncovered issue 1. Now, if you guys did not hear about this Powergirl book, it's not a story. It's basically a pinup book. Actually, it is a pinup book trying to make a story out of it, which is pretty stupid in my opinion. This is a 40-page comic, I should say art book, and it's $6. Now, if you love Powergirl and you love all the covers that she's been in, you're gonna love this book and you're gonna find it worthy, right? But for me, this book I don't feel like it's worth $6, right? I probably originally put this on my FOC just thinking that, you know what, it might be cool to have this, but at the end of the day, this is one of those books where I wish I could turn back the clock and just be like, oh, this is not really worth it. It was cool to see some of these older covers, but it was really stupid to try to make a story out of it. There's oh yeah, these publicly displayed pictures are out there and I didn't give them my authorization, and here they are. And it's okay, that's kind of dumb. But this is all the artwork that you can expect in this comic book, right? It looks good, but it's nothing that you haven't seen, and it's very modern. Most of the stuff that is released in this comic book are all, books that have come out within the last few years. Obviously, a lot of them came out this past year with the return of Powergirl, so you get to see a lot of Will Jack and David Nakayama. This Artgerm cover came out a few months ago, so this is stuff that, we've all seen. John Boy Myers, like, I don't know, man. It's not worthy. It's not worthy in my opinion. So the artwork is worthy, but that's about it. And grading this book, it's a joke because they try to make it a little bit of a story and it doesn't work. If you're gonna sell a book like this, like, just be like cover or Power Girl's greatest artwork pages or greatest pinup pages and just sell it at that. But it shouldn't be freaking $6. That's an absolute joke for me. Dead X-Men issue 1. This is a 28-page comic for $5, and the writer here is Steve Fox, and the artwork is done by Bernard Chang. The artwork is pretty good. I like the characters in this issue. The action scenes are fine. It's definitely serviceable artwork. I definitely had my hesitation going into this book because a lot of the X-Men book at this point when it comes to the Fall of X is like, if you're not reading it or paying close attention to it, I feel like you're going to be lost from it, right? And so in this book, we wound up getting to see, I guess, Jean Grey handpicked a few mutants, which I think were the mutants that were picked before the whole gala happened in 2023 to be the new X-Men team. And you get to see them go out on their first mission. And these people are Cannonball, Dazzler, Frenzy, Jubilee, Prodigy. Now, what makes a good X-Men team in your eyes is if you like these particular X-Men, right? I mean, that's really the way it boils down to. If you're not a fan of these characters, a lot of time you might not pick up this comic and you'd be like, oh, I could care less, right? The one thing I didn't like about this comic was, like, I felt like they were thrown into this mission right off the start. It throws a lot at you. I felt a little bit lost just because I haven't been 100% vested into the Fall of X. Obviously, they're trying to stop Moira before she, I guess, got her mutant powers as well. So they're jumping through different timelines. And I'm just not a fan of, like, the whole timeline jumping a thing. And it's just a big convoluted thing. It's just a mess in my eyes, right? People might like this. People might be excited about this. And that's totally fine. By the time you get to end of it, they come across Moira. It's just, I don't care anymore. I think that's the problem when it comes to X-Men. I've given it try after try after try, and for me, it's just not worthy. It's not worthy, and I just find myself burned every single time. I feel like I just need to stop reading the X-Men books in my eyes and just wait till we start fresh again, I guess, in the summertime, and see what the new run has to offer, because again, I think I'm just burnt out of the X-Men in general, and I feel like this episode of Worthy Ones, it's a very negative one, and I hate being that way, but it just seems like this week's new #1 comics are just very weak, and maybe that has to deal with just it being the 5th week of the month. I don't know, but if I graded this book, it's not horrible, and I'm not going to actually give it a real grade. I'll give it a not available, just because there could be fans of this one, and you might get it more than I do. It's just, I don't feel 100% connected to everything. So yeah, I'll let you guys make the decision here if you like Dead X-Men or not. Moonman, this is issue 1, written by Kyle Higgins, and the art is done by Marco Licati. This is a 40-page comic, and this one is $4. The artwork looks pretty good in here. It's very, like, psychedelic at times, because there's a mystery that happens about this astronaut who goes into space, and his fellow astronauts and himself basically went missing for 7 minutes, and you don't exactly know what happens. And because of those 7 minutes, this astronaut develops these powers, and he's not sure, obviously, how he developed these powers. Kind of reminded me a little bit of, like, a Fantastic Four vibe, right? When the Fantastic Four went into space. and then all of a sudden they came back with powers. That is what this reminded me of. This has a little, I feel like it has a little jab with like Elon Musk, because we're Earth and we're trying to get back to the moon, first time in 50 years. And this guy's working for this rocket company like SpaceX, right? And the younger brother doesn't accept the company that he's working for, okay? And he's like, why did you leave NASA? Why did you do this to do that? You know, they're taking over the world. They're a monopoly. So it reminded me a lot of that stuff. So they butt heads with each other. And in this issue, you wind up seeing this like picketing thing happen. Like the people are just, you know, with signs and everything out front, and his brother's getting in trouble. And so he goes to rescue him. And that's how he finds out he has powers, right? So it was okay, but for me, it's not worth it. I did not like it enough to continue it. It's not a bad book. It's just something that I don't think I can see myself reading for the long term, right? So I think at the end of the day, for me, it was just an average book. It didn't really blow me out of the water. There wasn't a lot of excitement. It is a slow burn book, and it does have mystery, but not enough there to be like, oh man, I got to really get that next issue, right? So again, I'm just going to grade this one a C. Just, again, this week, nothing really impressed me when it came to these new #1 issues. Jill and the Killers, this is issue 1. This is a 48-page comic for $7. So it is a little pricey for the amount of pages. This book is written by Olivia Cordo-Briggs. Hopefully I said your name right. I apologize if I didn't. And the art here is Roberta, and Granetta. The artwork looks good. The characters got nice facial expressions. You don't have to go too much detail. It's just a lot of high school girls and high school students in this comic book. And what this book is about the main character, Jill, who is really into investigative stuff. Mainly because her mom, which we think was a police officer or an investigator, and she's gone missing. And she's convinced that her mom is dead. We don't know too much about that whole thing, and it's not really explained in this particular comic book. The one thing that goes on in this comic is she's basically been mourning her mother, and she's been out of school for a year, and she's trying to fit in with the other kids once again, with her friends. She's trying to get back with that friend group. There's a new girl in the group that she doesn't really know, and she feels like she's taking away all her friends from her. And what they do is they come across this new subscription service where you can subscribe, and it's like murder mystery stuff, and it's delivered at your door and you get to solve the mystery. Her friends are a little hesitant about Jill doing this because of everything that's gone with her mom, but she feels like that she has to fit in, right? So her dad does agree for her to do this. They get the box delivered to the door. They finally go out and they try to go on this like little mission and stuff like that. And they come across like real body parts. And little did you know that this is an actual case that is really going on, because the actual game was delivered to their doorstep the very next day. So what they thought was the game really wasn't a game. It was an actual real case. So it was okay in that aspect. I like that part. But then at the end, it just felt like once that murder part was over with and they reported it to the police, it just felt like the book went on a little bit too long after that. I start losing interest in the characters when they were going into the mall. I couldn't really find myself connecting to any of the other characters besides Jill and maybe her friend Ginger. And so at the end of the day, I just find this book not worth it. Surprising, because it sounds like I was really into the actual comic book itself. But again, once we got halfway through it, it just felt like it was too long. And at that point, I didn't care about the characters. And it shows me that, man, issue 2, I don't think I'm going to be into it. So even though I thought it was an okay book, I think I'm just going to give this one a C+. And same thing, just like Moonman, I can't see myself going the long haul with this. It just didn't grab me enough to keep going. Maybe if it did 24 pages, it would have made me bought a second issue. So sometimes the meaning having more is not always better. pretty true in this case. Lilo and Stitch, this is issue 1. I think when I went to go buy this book, I wanted to see what Greg Pak had to offer when it came to these classic and iconic Disney characters. Pretty much everyone in the universe has seen Lilo and Stitch, and if it's not going to be for the adult, it's at least going to be for the kids, right? So again, the writer here is Greg Pak, and the art is done by Gulia. I'm not even going to begin, right? The artwork is really cool. It's what you can expect, right, from like Lilo and Stitch. It's like you watch the movie, and yeah, this is everything that you're used to seeing. So they really nailed the artwork when it comes to it. When it comes to the Stitch character, right, he looks great, and it was just a book that was cute. It was fun, and it's just Stitch winds up getting lost. There's this little race that's going after him that wants to capture him because they want to be like more aggressive or whatever it is. And so he's out on the run, and he winds up trying to blend into the community and things like that. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of it, he goes to like this con. I think it's like some welcome to the Manhattan Toy Con. So he's now part of this con, and he's hiding from these people. Again, if you're an adult and you love Lilo and Stitch, this is going to be worthy, right? If you're a kid, this is going to be worthy. For me, will I personally continue this series? Probably not. Got cool covers, but again, it's a series that is mainly, I think, made for the younger audience. So if you want to get comic books in your kids' hands, give them Lilo and Stitch. For grading this comic for a younger audience, I'm going to give this an A. This was really good for that, and you can never have enough comic books for the younger generation these days to keep things going. So at least there was a bright spot in this week's Worthy Ones, because for me, this was not the greatest week. So there you have it, guys. There is this week's episode of Worthy Ones. I am so sorry that this is not a more positive episode. It's not like me to, give comics bad grades, but I am an honest reviewer and trying to be the most respectful at the same time to these creators, right? Because this is their job. But sometimes there's weeks where things just don't tickle my fancy, man. That's just the way it goes. But again, this is just my opinion. You might want to check out these books for yourself and make your own opinion out there, right? That's what's so great about this hobby. So if you guys love my content, just give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I'll leave you more content. This is everything that I picked up for this week's comic book haul. And of course, guys, keep subscribing, keep buying, keep reading, keep doing all that comic book stuff. I'm a little bit out there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye.